15th, 2013, the day of the Boston Marathon bombings. The devastation of the bombing struck Boston hard. No one was expecting what was to come that morning. A quote from Michael Cooper said, "One of the city's most cherished first of spring was transformed from cheers and sweaty crime to one of screams and carnage." The race started without any warning or suspicion, and by the time the bombs went off, 3/4 of the 23,000 runners had already finished. But there were still roughly 6,000 runners who were kept from finishing. Once people realized that it wasn't fireworks or celebratory sparks, those who were at the scene fled, running as far away as possible. At an interview with Jarrett Sylvester, a runner from East Boston, she recalled the moment the bombs went off. "The first one went off, and I thought it was just a big celebratory thing, and I just kept going. And then the second one went off, and I saw debris flying in the air, and I realized it was a bomb, and at that point I just ran in the complete opposite direction." But some powerful and courageous people in the crowd, and even finishing the marathon, didn't flee, but acted as temporary first responders and aides to the firefighters, like Carlos Arendo, who was handing out American flags on behalf of fallen soldiers at the finish line. He sprung into action and helped in the rescue. Another runner, Dr. Vivek Shah, was running in the marathon when he saw the bomb set off. He rushed to the help of others and assisted in the paramedics. Some victims only came out with minor injuries, but others who were closer to the explosions had more major injuries, like Jeff Bauman and Celeste Conquerin, who both lost their legs. And 3 kind and loving people didn't make it out of the crowd that day. 8-year-old Martin Richard, Ling Zhaolu, and Crystal Campbell. They were the ones who were closest to the 2 bombs. The primary goal of the bombers was to slow down and cause ruckus in Boston, and they succeeded. Parts of the Back Bay neighborhood were closed, and the T was shut down. Planes were grounded at Logan, and the Boston Symphony and the Celtics were canceled. 4 days after the marathon, in an intense manhunt that practically shut down Boston, police captured Dzhokhar Tarnev and Tamerlan Tarnev. The investigation included more than 1,000 officers and took place from Monday to Friday, an intense manhunt for those who were responsible for the bombs. A breakthrough in the case came when FBI analysts pinpointed 2 male suspects who ended up being the culprits, but they could not figure out their identities until Thursday. The brothers were spotted in a small Toyota and switched cars. They carjacked a man while they were still in Boston and took him with them. When the brothers stopped at a gas station, their hostage escaped and called police. He told them that they could track the car by his cell phone. Shortly after midnight, some police spotted the suspects in Watertown, where gunshots were fired and 1 officer and 1 brother were down. The officer and the brother did not survive. The other brother was then found the day after and was sentenced to life in prison for murder. No matter what happened in 2013, Boston would never be destroyed. We felt the pressure, but we didn't break. We felt the weakness, but we didn't fall. We felt the tears, but we did not cry. We kept going. That day will always be in our hearts and in our thoughts, but not in our shoes. The next marathon, we had over 36,000 runners, 10,000 more than runners than the year before, and those who were hurt came and watched, and even ran in the marathon. Like Mark Fubrile, who finished in the marathon this year in the hand cycle race. We may have been slowed down, but we were never shut down. Boston kept going and pushed through. We united and stood together. We were Boston strong.